Hey, Jeremy here from LATT SEO, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create redirects in Shopify. And I'll go through these steps with you here, and then also explain a little bit about some of the automated redirect features that are in Shopify as well. So first thing you need to do is log into your site, and I'm in the development site here that we have, and then you'll go to Online Store. So these next few steps, we can do these at the same time. So go to Online Store, select Navigation, and then Access URL Redirects. So on the left side here, Online Store, Navigation, and then View URL Redirects here in the upper right. Click on that. And this is where, if you have any redirects in place, this is where you'll see them. If you don't, this is where you can either import them or create new ones. So now, here's where you can create a new URL redirect. And to do this, what you'll need to do is click this Create URL Redirect button, and then you will add in the URL that you're redirecting from and the URL you're redirecting to. And you can read these different notes here that Shopify has, but you don't have to put in the full URL. You can put in a slash. So if your website, in this case, is lattseo.com, you don't need to add all that in. You can just add the slash here. And then you can add slash collections slash shoes. And you want to redirect this to, let's do watches. Redirect to slash collections slash men's watches. So you can do it this way. Or the other way you can do it in Shopify now is, let's go to our products section here. And actually we'll go to collections. We'll create a collection. And let's say you have a watches collection. And we'll save this to create it and view this just to make sure. Okay, so now you can see the URL at the top is slash collections slash watches. And right here is the title of the collection and then the description. Now we can change this. Let's say we want to instead focus this collection to just be optimized for and targeting men's watches. So we'll change the title here to men's watches, this description here. And this is not exactly how I would optimize this, but just doing this for the purposes of this video to show you the redirects. And then the next thing to do would be to optimize this URL to, instead of being optimized for and targeting just watches, we want to target men's watches. And as a quick note, if you're using a plural or if you could potentially include a special character in the URL, I would recommend not including special characters. So you do not want to put an apostrophe in here for men's watches. You want to either just do men watches or men's watches without the apostrophe, or watches for men. And again, it would depend on the actual keyword you wanted to focus on mainly. Now back to the task at hand for redirects. So we have men's watches in here, which will be the new URL. And what you will do is, if you click redirect to new handle, this will automatically create that redirect for you. So you will not need to go back to the redirect section here and add this in. So let's just go back here. Unsave changes. It's fine. We don't need to save these changes here. So we'll go back here. I'll refresh this just to show that there's no redirect shown right here. We'll go back to this page here. And we want to redirect to new handle, save this. Now, if we go back to this page, once it refreshes and once Shopify gathers that we added that redirect in, you can see here at the top, collection, watches. And if I refresh this page, now it redirected to men's watches, and all of these updates are done here as well. So this has now created that redirect for us. And if we go back here, it automatically added in this redirect. So we did not need to do this manually for this redirect, which is really nice. Now, the other things to keep in mind here would be, if you wanted to add this redirect in manually and you did not do this with the button down here, the redirect to new handle, you can still do that exact same thing by adding in this redirect manually, like I mentioned. So you do collections watches, collections men watches, or men's watches I should say, and then save redirect, and then same thing would happen. So then anytime anybody, if somebody did have a link to just go to slash watches, and if I press enter, it redirects automatically to men's watches. So that is how you would do a redirect like that for a collection. The process would be the same for a blog post as well. And then the couple notes here to think about and remember as you're setting up redirects. especially if you have a site with multiple locations and or multiple languages. So Shopify also handles automatic redirects. And what I mean by that is if you have a URL redirect across a different country version of your site, when you set these up, the primary URL for your US site, for example, will apply the same redirect logic to all localized versions. So for example, if you have a redirect that's set for your US version, any of the other versions will also have that same redirect set. And then also with Shopify Markets, you can manage multiple regions from a single Shopify store. So when you set a redirect in the primary market, Shopify ensures the redirect applies to all other markets unless specified otherwise. And then last thing here, the URL structure consistency. So ensure your URL structures are consistent across different locales to utilize Shopify's automatic redirect handling fully. For instance, like I mentioned, if your US page redirects to new US page, your Canadian page will also redirect to that same page. So hopefully that makes sense. But that's how Shopify handles redirects within these different cases for different location type URLs. Now, a couple other things to think about here would be these additional considerations when you're dealing with redirects in Shopify. So if you're doing product or collection or page URLs, so you can create these redirects for individual product URLs, collection URLs, and page URLs. And this is useful if you're updating or removing products, collections, or pages, like I mentioned. So the other thing to think about is if you are deleting this collection. So let's say we want to get rid of this men's watches collection. We don't want it anymore. Now this page will be not found once Shopify picks it up and loads. So we'll wait a second here, but we'll go back to these redirects here. And it's taking a second here for Shopify to pick this up for me. So what you would want to do then is redirect this to if you deleted the men's watch collection and you instead wanted it to redirect back to watches or to jewelry or something like that, then you would want to set that redirect manually in this section here. So you would do the same thing here. You would redirect the watches to your jewelry collection or to a page explaining why you deleted the collection or something like that. But you would want to make sure that you don't have that 404 error here it is. So this is what would happen if you delete that collection. So then you would want to, again, create this redirect in here manually to redirect somebody to your correct page. Blog post URLs can be redirected as well. So if you change the URL of a blog post or remove it, set up a redirect to the new URL or a relevant page. And just to show you that, if we go into blog posts here, delete this redirect because we don't need it. Go into blog posts and we will create one. And we'll go test blog post and save. And we want to make it visible so we can see it. Now, same thing here with the website SEO. In here, if you were to change, let's say you set this test blog post up and the URL was set as test blog post or some generic information here that doesn't help from an optimization perspective, then you can also add or update the URL here. So let's say it's about Shopify redirects. Shopify redirects. So then you can, again, automatically create the redirect here by just clicking this button. So we'll save this. And if we go back to the navigation section, view URL redirects, it automatically created that redirect for us here. So again, you can do these manually as well. If you delete the blog post, redirect it to a new page, that would make sense. Primary domain redirects then. Redirects for the primary domain must be handled through your domain settings. Shopify allows you to redirect all traffic from non-primary domains to your primary domain to avoid duplicate content issues. And you cannot redirect checkout URLs. So Shopify does not allow redirects for checkout URLs. The checkout process is hosted on Shopify's secure servers, and custom redirects within the flow are not permitted. And that is a setting from Shopify. And then dynamic parameters and query strings. Redirects involving dynamic parameters or query strings can be tricky. Shopify URL, here we go. Shopify's URL redirects typically do not support wildcards or regular expressions, so each redirect must be specific. So that would be something if you were to include a query string, which would be like a question, or adding in some other information that would be dynamic. You would not want to do that because that can cause additional issues as well. Limitations on wildcards, kind of the same thing here. Shopify does not support wildcard redirects, so redirecting all pages within a directory to a new directory with a single rule. And what that means is if you are wanting to create a URL redirect, and let's say redirect all from your all products, or go collections, all products within a collection or something, you cannot do a star to redirect all. So you'd have to do every single one manually. And then redirect limitations on apps. Some Shopify apps might have their URLs or resources which are managed outside of the standard URL redirect tool, so you'll want to check app-specific settings for managing redirects. File URLs, redirects for URLs pointing to files like PDFs or images hosted on Shopify can be set up, but it's better to update the links directly where possible. Redirects and site performance. Keep an eye on the number of redirects, as too many redirects can slow down your site's performance and affect SEO. Ensure redirects are necessary and optimized. So you don't want to just add in a bunch of redirects for the sake of redirecting things. You'd first want to make sure it makes sense from a user experience, and then also look at it from an SEO performance perspective as well. And then handling old URLs. When migrating from another platform to Shopify, set up redirects for old URLs to their corresponding new URLs in Shopify to preserve SEO value and user experience. And this goes the same way if you're moving away from Shopify as well. So you'll want to make sure that those redirects are set up either in Shopify if you're moving to Shopify, or you can do this on your server as well within a different file types and or within the new content management or store management system that you're using. And then the last thing here is if you need to create a bulk or a number of redirects, you may want to use a third-party app for this, and Shopify has a number of different apps that you can use to set up and help manage your redirects. So hopefully this guide gave you some info as to how to set up redirects correctly and what should be done if you are planning to update or modify collections, products, or blog posts on your site, and showed you how to set up redirects. And that's it. See you in the next one.